So after the boys from College Game Day get done doing their thing, their real game will begin at Spartan Stadium at 8 o'clock on Saturday. I'm Geoff Preston.
I'm Robert Bondy.
Huge game this week. Everybody's had it circled on their calendars all season long. MSU takes on Ohio State this Saturday night at Spartan Stadium. Robert, huge game, very big playoff implications. This is really kind of the last chance for MSU to get that staple win for the committee. Obviously, except for Nebraska, but this is kind of that last opportunity to get a really big staple win, because after this, we're looking at a few cupcakes.
Yeah, this last game really for them to get an opportunity to get that big win, like you said, at least until the Big Ten championship game.
Right.
And even more important, I think, right now is that if they win this game, they have a path to the Big Ten championship into, bigger and greener pastures.
Both teams are undefeated in the conference.
Both teams are undefeated in the conference, and this game almost serves as a situation where State loses. They're going to be basically 2 games back. Yes, it's only 1 game back in the standings, but tiebreakers then go to Ohio State, and the only way for them to even have a chance to be in the Big Ten championship game would then be Ohio State will lose 2 games.
And if you look at Ohio State's schedule, it's very similar to MSU's.
Exactly.
They're not losing another game.
They're not losing another game if they win. I mean, they know they have Michigan at the end of the year. We don't need to talk too much about that. So this really, in the game in that regard, has a lot of stakes, because the Big Ten championship, the goal, that Michigan State's talked about all year, cannot be obtained ultimately if they lose this week.
Mark D'Antonio talked a little bit about just the hugeness of this game, for lack of a better word. I mean, really, that is exactly what it is. Here's Coach D'Antonio about the Ohio State game.
Well, I don't know if it's is it Ohio State or is it any other football team in this conference, that's winning at a high level. We've been there before against some of the other football teams that we played. So, to me, it's not so much about, well, maybe it is about winning this game because it sort of propels you forward, but it's the fact that can we win another division championship? What used to be the Legends, can we get in that championship game for the 3rd time out of 4 years? Can we do that? And that's the big question. Now, obviously, this game, the way the standings look right now, this game is extremely important because you'll win the tiebreakers as well, whoever wins this game. So that's what makes it even more, I think, more important. But I think it's more of a conference thing rather than a personal, can we beat Ohio State? I think, can we represent our division in the Big Ten championship game? And then what can that springboard us towards?
When this game was circled on everyone's calendar to start the season, it was with the expectation for a lot of fans that Braxton Miller, the same guy that despite the loss in last year's Big Ten championship game, really had a great season last year for Ohio State. The expectation was that he would be leading the Buckeyes, and as I'm sure if you haven't been living under a rock for the last few months, know that that's not the guy. It's JT Barrett, and obviously, he's a true freshman. Really struggled against Virginia Tech, a game that they inexplicably lost. Their only loss of the season, but he's gotten a lot better. And if you take a look at some of the numbers, they're not against great teams, but they're putting up basketball numbers on some of these teams. Just maybe talk to me a little bit about his progression and the difference between him and Braxton Miller. I know some players talked about it a little bit this week as well.
Yeah, he's really been a guy this year that coming in as a true freshman, a lot of people are starting to be concerned if you're close to the Ohio State program, because you didn't know exactly what to expect. I know a lot of people I've talked to at the beginning of the year when Braxton Miller went down with an injury. A lot of people penciled this in as a victory for Michigan State right then and there. Because at that point in time, you didn't know how good JT Barrett was going to be. He's been great. He has 29 total touchdowns, over 2,000, and I want to say 200 total yards so far this year. I mean, that's only in 8 games. Those numbers are great. Urban Meyer talked a little bit yesterday or on Tuesday in the Big Ten teleconference about how at the beginning of the year, they were it was, very simplified offense, and now as it's gone forward, he's been able to progress that offense with JT Barrett, having more faith in him. And it ultimately led to Michigan State players, Tywan Jones even saying that, JT Barrett fits Urban Meyer's offense even better than Braxton Miller.
He didn't just say that. He said that JT Barrett's a better quarterback overall than Braxton Miller, which I was surprised about.
I was personally too. But Braxton was a little salty about that. That tweet he sent yesterday. Not sure if that was meant towards the comments that Tyler about Brax credit JT, whatever it may be.
You knew something was coming.
Exactly. But ultimately, I think a lot of people agree, maybe at least, I don't know if I personally agree, but Tywan Jones, that Michigan State defense agrees that, JT Barrett's better than Braxton Miller is for this offense. And here's what he had to say about that this week on Tuesday in the press conference.
I feel like with this offense, JT Barrett works better in this offense. I feel like he has a better arm. he's a way better quarterback than Braxton. But I feel like it's a big challenge for us, and we're actually looking forward to it and working this week in order for us to be successful with this offense.
So in all honesty, this season for our prediction section, it hasn't really been all that difficult. Not a lot of great teams. Obviously, you and I kind of both struggled a little bit with the Oregon pick.
Yeah, I don't know which way, but
This is a hard one. Harder at least.
yeah.
And it's time for our predictions. I guess I'll start. I'm kind of not a big fan of picking blowouts in games like this. I always kind of think that the games are going to be a little bit closer. I picked a close game when MSU beat Nebraska. Even the Michigan game, which I was very wrong about that. I picked a closer game. I think that this one gets a little bit out of hand early. I think that Ohio State's going to make a little bit of a comeback late, but I really think that this is going to be a little bit like the Nebraska game, or on the other side of the equation, the Oregon game, where the score isn't necessarily going to be as indicative of how much MSU is going to dominate Ohio State. I just kind of think that there's secondary issues for me. That secondary is giving up some long touchdowns. Even in games that they're blowing teams out when they're playing well for some of it, there's the occasional misstep that you kind of go, you can't do that against Kent State and beat Michigan State.
Yeah.
That kind of thing. They have not played a single good team. I mean, we're talking, this is little sisters of the poor here that they're playing. So I think that because of that, they come into East Lansing, a real test. I think MSU wins 31-17.
Wow, that's a bold prediction there, Geoff. I'm in a similar boat, kind of. Similar prediction. I have Michigan State winning 31-20. I see this game very similar to last year's, where it was a momentum swing in the Big Ten championship game. I think the Michigan State's going to feed off the crowd and that momentum early on in the game. It's going to be a night game. It's going to be electric. The fans are going to be out in all forces this week. So I really think Michigan State early on.
We'll see about that, but
well, I think in a game like
this,
I think at least the alumni and everyone else, maybe the students will take off the whole game. But at least early on they'll be there.
Yep.
And I think early on that's going to give Michigan State a boost. They're going to get an early lead. I think Ohio State's going to come back, punch them back in the mouth, make this game close, get it maybe tied up in that fourth quarter. And then I think Connor Cook's going to do what he's done the best in the big games, have a few scoring drives down the stretch, cap it off with a final touchdown pass to Tony Lippett. And I think in Michigan State that 31-20 win. Cook's going to be, I think, good. He's always been good in the big games. This is an opportunity for him to continue that.
I agree with that. I think Cook's going to really take advantage of that secondary. Well, enjoy it, everyone. It's the biggest game of the year so far, probably. I mean, maybe Oregon's bigger, but that's
in the past.
It's in the past. So enjoy it. Have fun. We will be back on Tuesday. Tuesday? No, we'll be back on Monday.
Monday.
I don't know anything. I just do what I'm told. With kind of analysis and updates on where MSU stands after the Ohio State game. I'm Geoff Preston.
I'm Bondy.
We'll see you whenever day we decide to do a video.